Alright, so let's say that we have filtered our data and we put in our break lines and we're satisfied with everything. And I haven't done all of that for this tutorial, but let's pretend that we have. So let me force that and let's get back to our thin. And we're ready to start producing our deliverables, keeping in mind that our deliverables are typically an AutoCAD drawing with a surface. We are going to create a DEM using this data, keeping in mind that we're using our thinned and we're using break line enforcement. So in order to export data, we will come up here to this database to paper emblem and click it. It says I have unsafe features. Let it go ahead and save them. Now, let's first get an LAS out of only our thin filtered so that we'll have pure ground what we made the surface from. So let's choose export type points and let's choose LAS beside our source points. Let's clear everything and we're only going to use our reserved 819 of them now. Let's make sure, yeah, 4,000 of them. There we go. And we're going to hit OK. We're going to leave everything else here alone. Actually, for our points, we don't need a geotiff, so we're going to uncheck that. We're going to go to next. Use the basic extent, or if you just had an area within your data that you wanted to cut out a cookie cutter as your flat was bigger and you just needed a portion, you could use the cookie cutter. We're going to leave all this alone, but we are going to tile it. So it's a good idea to tile it. Mine's very, very small, but so 1,000 by 1,000 is only is one tile, which doesn't do much good. So let's see if I can get some tiles. You do want to tile your data. It makes it easier for operations. So in my case, this is 2 tiles. So you can choose this. 1,000 by 1,000 is a good one, but it really depends on your file size and the shape and geometry of your project. So I'm going to hit next. Where do I want it? So not the name of it, but where do you want it? So I'm going to come in here within my project, and I'm going to put it here under north, and we're going to make a new folder called thin median. Whoa, hello. Under Agricola North. Am I in the right project? Yeah. And we're going to make a new folder right here, and we're going to call it thin median. And we're going to pop it right there. And we're going to put it into the map, and we're going to hit finish. And now we've got us a layer that is nothing but the data points we wanted to use for our surface. So there they are. It's nice and easy to get to. And this file size is going to be much, much smaller. Well, we have that for posterity and recreating it in other surfaces, or other programs, but we ultimately want to get our surface. So let's create our DEM. So let's go back to our export, and this time let's do a surface. And we're going to do a triangular regular network. Our source points is going to be our number 8. We want to enforce break lines, just like we were talking about. So let's come here. Let's choose our break line layer or layers if you have multiple. And OK. And you can make multiple types of surfaces by elevation, slope, hillside, contours, intensity. If we're creating some other deliverable for a GIS analyst or something, that's what these are. But for most times, you're just going to do elevation. And let's choose geotiff and hit next. Once again, we're going to use our basic extents. If you want a cookie cutter, you could. And we're going to tile it in 500 by 500. I'm actually not going to tile the DEM. You typically want your DEM to be one file if you can help it. And we're going to hit next again and tell it where to put it. Make us a new folder, DEM. Give it a name. And we're going to insert it in map and hit finish. Depending on the size, it takes a while. Alright, so here this is. Now notice, you see the size of these grids? Get back in here. Here is the cell size. I skipped right over it earlier, deliberately. So if you can choose any cell size you want. So this is what it looks like with a 10. If I come in here and change it to 5, and just leave everything the same, it should overwrite it. And now we've got a 5. If I take that and I put it under the LES thinned, you can see that there are points in the centers of each one of these or along the centers. There should be at least 1 point per grid square, and as you can see. Okay. Now we've got us a DEM. We will use this DEM for our very last step, or one of our last steps of creating our orthophoto. But let's bring this into AutoCAD real fast so you can see how it works. We will do that in our final couple of videos. So that's it for our output. So you ultimately want to get a DEM out for us to bring into AutoCAD. That is your goal.